A serious question: when we get out of this Trump regime, will future Democratic presidential administrations prosecute people like Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Pete Hegseth, Pam Bondi for crimes? Not just any crimes, serious crimes, war crimes, murder, kidnapping, mass murder. And I'm not trying to say this in a speculative way. I mean, you have people who are posturing, in my opinion, to become future candidates for the presidency from the Democratic Party. They're out there and they're saying that. They're saying there will be a time when the pendulum swings back. And what is taking place right now, whether it is the war crimes off the coasts of Venezuela, Colombia, Trinidad and Tobago, we learn. I mean, there were just some survivors of one of these strikes. When we learn what the hell is going on there and if innocent people are being killed, who ordered the innocent people being killed? We know, for example, and this never happens, that the 4-star Navy Admiral Alvin Halsey, who is the head of U.S. Southern Command, his first year of his tenure as the head of U.S. Southern Command, resigned, retired after 37 years in service. You never retire and resign when you're just 1 year through that 3-year tenure. And all of the reporting says behind the scenes that he was livid, would be putting it lightly, at what Hegseth was doing in that region, because Admiral Halsey was the commander of Latin America where those war crimes were taking place. You also have Democratic Congress member who heads the Intelligence Committee for the Democrats. He's the ranking member now. If Democrats take control of Congress, he would be the future chair of the House Intelligence Committee. He says these are war crimes being committed by who? Obviously, at the top, it's Donald Trump, but Trump's going to make the arguments for absolute immunity. I think you'll have that being litigated. But just take a look right here. This is Democratic Congress member Jim Himes. He doesn't mince words. He says, make no mistake, these are war crimes that America is committing. Play this clip.
One of the many troubling aspects about these lethal attacks in the Caribbean against supposedly drug dealing boats. Now, we don't know that because unlike our counterterrorism programs, the Congress is not being told who were on these boats, how they were identified, what the intelligence was. Totally different thing. Congress is being told nothing on this. And that's okay, apparently, with the Republican majorities in the House and the Senate. It's not okay with me. I'm going to leave a little bit of a crack in the door here because, again, the White House has not shared what they believe their legal justification is. They did put out a memo. I will tell you that based on what I know now and the reading of that memo, these are illegal killings. They are illegal killings because the notion that the United States, and this is what the administration says is their justification, is involved in an armed conflict with any drug dealers, Venezuelan drug dealers, is ludicrous. It wouldn't stand up in a single court of law.
They say they've designated them as terrorists.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's lots of people who have been designated terrorists. That does not automatically give the authority to take lethal action.
It's the Democratic leader in the House Intelligence Committee saying these are illegal killings. By who? By who? Obviously, Trump's at the head, but then you've got people like Miller and you've got Noem and you've got Bondi. I mean, there's a joint, I think the DOJ is involved in some of the legal justification as well and furthering this. Here's what Governor Pritzker, who's positioning himself, I think, for a presidential run. I don't know that, but I think so. I don't think that's a secret. Here, play this clip.
And let's remember, and I've said this for some time, they're not always going to be in office, but they will, other than the president who's now been given immunity by the Supreme Court. The people who serve for the president, including all the way down to ICE agents, can be held accountable when there's a change of administration who's willing to hold them accountable when they break the law. Now, Stephen Miller is clearly ordering people to break the law. So, he should know that, it may be 3 years from now that he is held accountable, but make sure, I think it's important for them to know that whatever they do now, it's not like we're going to forget, and it's not like we don't have a record of what they're doing. So that is why I mentioned Stephen Miller. That's why I mentioned other people, Tom Homan and Gregory Bavino, who's the CPB CBP leader on the ground, the one who executed their orders in Los Angeles, which was, they did an awful job in Los Angeles and created all kinds of mayhem on the ground. Now he's doing it in Chicago. And so all these people need to recognize that, you may have immunity because Donald Trump's willing to pardon anybody that's carrying out his unlawful orders, but you're not going to have it under another administration.
I want to bring in Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel and the Talking Feds podcast and the Talking Feds Substack, former top federal prosecutor, the top federal prosecutor out of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. He had a top prosecutorial job from Main Justice in Washington, D.C. Harry, these aren't words to be taken lightly when someone like Governor Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, future potential president of the United States, certainly up there in the running for sure, is saying, we're not going to forget this. And these illegal acts, we will not forget about this, Stephen Miller.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, they're not words to be taken lightly, but they are words to be maybe parsed carefully. And here's what I mean. First, let's begin with Hines. Maybe they'll come forward with some kind of pull a rabbit out of their hat, but right now, this looks to all the world and to all the kind of legal authorities as really flat out murder. That is when you take away what looks to be an utterly illegitimate assertion of legal authority because of this armed conflict, really the same kind of crap they're trying to sell in other contexts, like the immigration context, like the boots on the ground in Chicago. When you take that away and they don't have that safety net, you fall straight to simple murder. So I think that and it's, to say those words are a little breathtaking, that maybe Miller is ordering and the U.S. is countenancing flat out murder for the purposes of these points, innocent civilians in Venezuela. It doesn't matter if they're also dealing drugs. That's point one. It's a really big point. Point two is, for all these reasons, the real remedy, these are really flagrant violations of public trust, flagrant abuse, and probably bad faith abuse of constitutional justifications and responsibilities. They're screaming justifications for impeachment. Point three, and I don't think anything Pritzker is saying is exactly to the contrary here, but we do have to understand war crimes. In general. When it comes to criminal courts, people who are found to be acting within their official duties, and that's, not simply are they doing something legal or not, but are they, basically, and we've seen this again and again with Trump, they will typically have immunity under U.S. law. So as flagrant and kind of stomach-wrenching as it seems, the general idea that going all the way down to the agents dropping the bomb, there could be a crime charged, is, I think, overstated. Although in general it's a piercing of immunity to show that the official really knew they were violating the law, couldn't have a good faith excuse. And you tell me, but Stephen Miller now is having this really put in front of his face that he is, doing something without legal justification. The final point I just want to make is Pritzker, who I think's really been impressive generally, taking the fight to Trump and the flavor of his comments, I think, might be along the lines of, you guys better be careful how much you're screwing with us. We'll screw you back. I don't think that's what he's saying. And in any event, I don't think that's what Democrats ought to be thinking. It so happens Trump 1.0 was breaking the law like crazy, and those Jack Smith prosecutions were absolutely righteous. It so happens, or it's totally clear that the bullshit with Comey now and James, at least, we can put Bolton to the side and maybe we'll talk about him more, are total reprisals, total violations of everything DOJ stands for. Presumably, if on a future day a DOJ restored to its position of honesty and integrity, and man, is that going to be a big job. Looks at a set of facts and concludes Stephen Miller should be charged. It won't be in the spirit of you messed with us and now we're going down in the muck with you. It'll be in the spirit of you would charge this in any event without fear or favor, because that's the crime breaking that happened. I don't think Pritzker is saying anything to the contrary, but I wouldn't want your listeners to be, too chuffed with this idea. Yeah, here come the Dems to break skulls improperly. Hopefully, here come the Dems to once again apply the law fairly, without fear or favor.
Apply it fairly, although when there are these crimes committed,
Totally.
I think that one of the frustrations, I think, with the last administration is that everybody saw these crimes being committed, but because of all of the conventions and how it's like, all right, we all saw what happened on January 6th. Why is it taking you 3 freaking years to do what should have been done immediately? Look at what they did in Brazil. They moved quickly, expeditiously, and their insurrectionist presidents in prison. They weren't scared. Look what this is. I think it's more like, look, apply the law, but stop allowing yourself to be bullied into not applying the law. I think with the fear or favor part, it's the fear part that people were upset with the last administration. Like, were you acting like, why did it take you so long? And they'll say, look, we were going through the motions. That's how long it takes. We had to start off here, there. And people are just like, really? I know.
Ben, you're filling me with nostalgia. Remember these debates when this is what we were worried about, as opposed to the end of the entire American experiment. But that's right. In any event, I think we're saying the same thing. And it's a question of how to apply those fair, apolitical principles. And I just want to stress, and I don't think Pritzker is saying the other, you screwed with us and we're coming back at you, which is exactly the spirit of these reprisal prosecutions of Donald Trump, except in his case, if you want to call it we screwed with him, or the Dems did, that's another way of putting that is he committed crimes in plain sight, and rather than let them go or pardon them or say nothing here, just move along, the DOJ and FBI, as it absolutely had to, took it very seriously, mounted the biggest investigation and series of prosecutions of all time. Everyone who went to trial was convicted. Total success until January 20th, Trump comes in and in an hour or two wipes it out with a stroke of the pen. So
Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds Substack, and Talking Feds podcast. Harry, we appreciate you.
Likewise. Thanks, Ben.
Everybody subscribe now to the Talking Feds YouTube channel. Just search it and hit subscribe. And subscribe to our channel as well. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.